Hey, I'm sitting here with James Cridland. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
You of course all heard about James because you saw him at the different Radio Days Europe editions. You saw him at the next radio conference, of course, which he's organizing, and of course you are registered to his podnews.net newsletter.
Yes, and very good it is too.
And if they're not registered
Did
yet,
you just say podnews.net?
I think I may have mentioned podnews.net. Right.
Podnews.net.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. People should.
Is it,
I mean, if you're
is
not
it free?
registered, I guess it's free.
Yeah, that's good. Podnews.net then.
Yeah. Did you read it?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Every day.
Fantastic. I'm one of those two. So if you're not registered yet, you just pause this video, register, and come back. James, we spoke yesterday about the fact that these digital home assistants, Amazon Echo, Google Home, or whatever, are maybe giving a second chance to radio at home.
Yes.
Are they?
Yes, I think so.
That was the shortest interview in the world.
Yes. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So I mean, it's very interesting seeing some of the data coming out of the US, particularly around use of smart speakers on these devices. Apparently 48% of all Americans are going to have a smart speaker by the end of the year. Not entirely sure that I agree with that, but nevertheless, the figures are large. And
it's already around 20% already.
Yeah, and it's particularly useful for radio, particularly useful for, if you're a fan of radio, you want something which it just is a really simple way of listening to the radio, just walking up and saying, hey, Google, listen to ABC Radio Brisbane, and up it comes. Certainly I'm seeing a lot of people, myself included, replacing the radios perhaps in their kitchen with a smart speaker.
Do you think that radios should develop skills or should go simply via tuning or any service that is providing stream in this?
Well, I mean, I think it's important first and foremost to make it really easy and simple for somebody to have a listen, and so that does mean the standard default way of listening is to say listen to name of radio station and it just plays. Having said that, if you want to offer more than just a stream, a live stream, which of course is important, but if you want to offer more than that, of course you need your own skill, and it's an important thing. There's a bit of education involved in terms of telling your audience how to use it, but that's that's always a useful thing. But I think on the very basic level, be where your audience is. So make sure that you are listed in the aggregators, but then make sure that you can then innovate and produce something which is even more interesting.
Do you think we see a surge in the consumption of podcasts around the world, and we see women getting more and more involved and actually having an increasing number of podcast registrations all around the world. Do you think that these devices will help the podcast phenomenon to grow, or is it something more related with live on-air radio?
I think certainly all of the research that I've seen seems to show that smart speaker is really good replacement. It's a loudspeaker. It's a really good replacement for other things that you use your loudspeaker for. So live radio being the obvious one, playing music as being another obvious one. Podcasts are normally consumed by ourselves. 90% of all podcasts are listened to by yourself, not with other people. Typically, a smart speaker is in a shared environment. So I'm not sure that smart speakers are particularly useful for podcasts right now. It's certainly quite difficult to ask for specific podcasts as well on many of these devices. But who knows what the future may bring, and it certainly won't harm anybody.
It's your job.
So they say. But it certainly won't harm anything to make sure that you're there, to make sure that it works. And one easy way of doing that on a Google device is to make sure that you're in Google Podcasts, which should happen automatically, but sometimes doesn't. And obviously make sure that you're in Apple Podcasts, which powers the podcasts for Apple devices as well. Siri, of course, uses that. The Amazon Echo uses tuning. So make sure that you're in those as a podcast. That's certainly not going to harm anything. I'm just not entirely convinced that podcasts and smart speakers go together as well as live radio does.
Okay, thank you very much. It's good to have you here.
That's great. It's great to be here.
So, where should we register again?
Oh, podnews.net?
Podnews.net.
Yes.
See you there. Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.